Prophet Zechariah is one of the minor prophets. We have 12 of them. Some of the names would be like Micah, Malachi, Nahum, Nehemiah, Zephaniah, Zechariah, Amos, Joel, Jonah. So these are some of the important minor prophets. And most of them gave a very short message as Prophet Zechariah in today's reading. Zechariah lived in the year and preached in the year 520 to 518 BC, as we are counting backwards in the years 520 to 518. So 2500 years ago, what he preached literally came true in the person of Jesus. We have a look at it. As we have in this first reading from Zechariah, what does he say? Rejoice greatly, Zion. Shout aloud, daughter of Jerusalem. For your king is coming victorious and triumph, but humble, sitting on a donkey, or on a colt foal of a donkey. Can you imagine a king coming on a donkey? Something that is visualized by Prophet Zechariah long back. And then in the second paragraph of today's first reading, what does he say? The chariot from Ephraim will be cut off, the war horse from Jerusalem will be cut off, and the warrior's bow will be cut off. Meaning to say that if you want to establish peace anywhere on this planet, you cannot use violent means. If we scan through the past 15 to 20 years, dear friends, you will find that in those regions where there was turmoil, war and violence, people used violence and war to bring peace. After 20 years, 15 years, do we have peace there in those regions? There isn't any peace. There is more of war, more of violence, more of hatred. That is why the king, the real king of peace who comes on a colt, brings true peace. And what does he do? He does not bring any kind of weapon. He does not come with a sword. He does not come with a warrior's bow or a chariot. He comes humble, simple, preaching peace. Now this particular message must be incarnated in our own families. Let us not think about the nations around us. Incarnating that message in our own family. You see, we can use violence means to bring a kind of calm, but that is not peace. We can use harsh words. We can use kind of anger to bring a kind of peace in the family. That would be temporary. Ultimately, how can we bring peace? It is through dialogue and prayer. Now just imagine a few months ago or weeks ago, Pope Francis invited two representatives from Palestine and from Israel to Rome to pray, to dialogue, so that these world leaders could open their eyes for a peaceful resolution, a peaceful solution for those conflicts that go on for years and years and centuries altogether. We do not find any continuous peace there. We can look at Libya, Iraq, Egypt. What's happening? Continuous turmoil, violence breaks out, unleashing of torturous experiences towards those innocent people. Now let us come to the gospel passage. When Jesus speaks here of revealing this design of the Father, he thanks the Father. I thank you, Father, because you have revealed this to infants and not to the wise and to the intelligent. You know, wise people, intelligent people, they begin to reason. they go according to logic. When Jesus used, "You have revealed this to infants," the Greek word for infant could be mikron or elekistoi, that is small. Mikron is small. This could be interpreted as children or a group of people without any voice in the society. Now when you go to some villages, you will find that childlike experience. This morning for Mass, there were a few people who came from remote areas of Canada to our church. And they told me, "Father, your homily was right for us because in our village, we live so peacefully. When we come to Vancouver, we are filled with tensions. We are filled with tensions." Now in the past few days, I am pretty sure you have been watching, some of you at least have been watching football match, right? And you are there in front of the television with all tension, cup of coffee, a glass of beer, a glass of wine, fully tensed. Who is going to win? Who is going to win? Watching your watch. Who is going to put the last goal? You can just see the turmoil within yourself. After all, whether your party wins or your team wins or not, what do you gain? Nothing practically. Some kind of entertainment. But that kind of entertainment ends up with tension if your team fails, ends up with little bit of elation if your team wins. But at the end, you do not know whether your team will win or not. Still a long way to go. This kind of tensions in our life. That's why Jesus says, "You have revealed the secrets of God's kingdom to children." And what is this? Becoming like children? Jesus himself said, unless you become like little children, you will not enter God's kingdom. Have you noticed little children playing? It's a marvelous thing to notice them. They do not think about the future at all. They don't think about the past. They are just there. Crying when they want to cry, laugh when they want to laugh, eat when they want to eat. That is the joy of life. That's why Jesus said, "Look at the birds in the air. They do not gather, they do not sow, they do not reap, but they are happy. Look at the lilies in the field, how God has beautified them." So that is becoming like little children. I just give you some of the important things that happen in our own society. Now sometimes I go for a walk here in downtown area. This you have noticed. I don't want to enter into anybody's privacy, but this is what I notice. When I go for a walk or sometimes I drive in downtown area, you can find people with their iPhones always browsing, walking on the road. As it were, they do not have anywhere to sit down and browse. Even while walking, they want to browse. And then I console myself saying that most probably they are reciting their breviary. The prayers. They are not reciting prayers. Now I go sometimes to restaurants, some of my friends invite. There may be 8 to 9 people in a group taking their food. Out of them, 3 to 4 people are there not eating, browsing their iPads and iPhones. I do not know what they are doing. Dear friends, I tell you, what is this rest? We have learned this beautiful lesson when we were small children. Eat while you eat, work while you work, sleep while you sleep. Beautiful lesson. And that is what Jesus brings us to our understanding today. Now sometimes I go for watching movies too. It's a tragedy. The movie is going on. People have come to watch movies, but you can find a few people watching something on their iPhones. Movie is going on, they want to watch their iPhones. Where we have landed in this modern world, as it were, we are always there, something disturbing us. We want to fill our minds with such a lot of wisdom. Do we require such a lot of wisdom, always browsing internet and finding out from our iPhones such a lot of material? Calm and quiet. That is what Jesus said. "Come to me, all you who are weary and overburdened." Dear friends, we are really overburdened. I tell you, we are really overburdened. If you find out some staggering statistics coming out from the medical world, we will be surprised how many people are tensed because of the modern society. Because I want to do the things the other guy is doing, other person is doing. I want to go to a place the other persons are going. So I am fully tensed. In some way, I am put into that atmosphere of tension. All the time tension, all the time tension. And to overcome that tension, when I go to sleep, I also put two, phones here. And I want to sleep because I have enough of noise in the world. Now while I sleep, I need more noise so that I may fall asleep, even at rest. I am not criticizing anyone. Here Jesus says, my yoke is easy and my burden light. What does that mean? According to some legends, this is not a historical thing, but legends say that Jesus was an expert carpenter. And he had put out of his small garage or a shop or place where he was working, my yoke is easy. My yoke is easy. Now to find out the word meaning of yoke, yoke comes from Latin word ungere. Yugum is to unite. Yoke is uniting. Now you might have seen yokes. Have you seen yokes? I am coming from countryside. Okay, I have seen yokes. The farmers using yokes. That is a bar which is placed onto bullocks or oxen, and behind there is the farmer tilling the ground. Now if you are very intelligent, you keep the yoke down and go up to first or second story and click a photograph of the yoke. It resembles a cross. Have you noticed it? It resembles a cross. Now Jesus, what he was doing, whenever people used to come to buy a yoke, he would say, well, I will come to your house and I would like to see your oxen. He would take the measurement of the oxen. He was a very patient man. And then come back and work on the yoke. He was making it so smooth, light, so that the oxen may not be in some way pressurized by these yokes. He was designing it so beautifully. That particular thing he started applying to the spiritual life of people. Now let us come to the second reading. I am connecting it. In the second reading, what St. Paul says, you have received the Spirit of Christ and therefore live according to the Spirit and not according to the flesh. And the Lord who was raised from the dead will give you eternal life to your mortal bodies. Now this is a very important thing to understand. Spirit and flesh. These are two partners of the yoke. In our life we need spirit, we need also flesh. But then the flesh part of it must be elevated by the Spirit. Now when Jesus says, come to me, my yoke is easy, who is partnering with our yoke? When we have to carry our yoke, the other partner is Jesus. When I am on the one side, Jesus is on the other side. Therefore he says, my yoke is easy, my burden light. And when we hold on to the yoke that is provided to us by Jesus, the tilling work, our daily work will be easier. That is the point here. The point is that we need to come back to Christ over and over again. Look at the life of Jesus, what he was doing. His daily timetable was get up early in the morning, go to a very peaceful place, pray. Late in the evening, go to a peaceful place and pray. Go to the valley, go to the mountain, to a lonely place and pray. Now, concrete thing for us, if we have such a lot of time to watch television, to browse our internet, to send messages and receive messages, well and good. I also do that. I have a very sophisticated iPhone, but presented to me by someone. But I do not find that kind of material to dig and find out, send messages, receive messages, sometimes I check my email and so on. But then what is important, at times, dear friends, we need to give up everything, sit idle doing nothing. And I would say, don't even pray. Just don't do anything. You know, when you get up from that moment, 10 to 15 minutes, you are fully charged and energized. Yes. Take it from me. Just don't do anything. Don't do anything means not even think in your mind. Keep cool and calm. That is the type of rest we need in this modern world. That's why statistically people living in villages live longer, right? Have you noticed that? People living in cities, they don't have a long life because a lot of stress and a lot of worries and a lot of tensions. We need to learn it from Jesus. Jesus is the person who said to his disciples, the Son of Man does not even have a place to lay his head. To put it very humorously from a person who said, many of us in this world risk our health and earn our wealth and then spend all our wealth to regain our health. Did you get it? We sometimes risk our health to gain wealth and then after some time we spend all our wealth to regain our health. Nothing very special, very normal. That is in such conditions we live. Therefore Jesus invites us to take rest. And that is the rest given by Jesus. Take my yoke, that is easy, and my burden is light. And he says, learn from me for I am meek and humble in heart. Dear friends, humility in our lives. You know, when we are humble, God exalts us. God gives us long life. God calms our worries. God takes upon himself all our worries. And therefore, of course, Jesus said, if you want to follow me, take up your daily cross and follow me. But then we must know sometimes to throw all our worries and all our tensions, all our miseries on the person who has called us. That is Jesus. Now, winding up, I tell you a little anecdote from the life of Anthony of the desert. Have you heard about him? Anthony of the desert. He was with his disciples in the desert. Under a tree, he was relaxing. At that moment, a hunter comes there who was known to him, and he looks at Anthony, relaxing, taking it easy. He says, Abbot Anthony, you who told us to be disciplined and work hard, you are taking life so easily. You are relaxing. And at that moment, Anthony said, well, my friend, I want to tell you something. You know, take your bow and aim at a point and set the arrow, he said. So he took an arrow and shot his arrow. And then Anthony said, do it once again. He took the arrow and shot it. Anthony said, do it once again. The hunter obediently took an arrow and shot the arrow. Anthony said, do it again. He was surprised. Then he did it for the fourth time. Took the arrow and shot to the point. And Anthony said, do it again. The hunter said, Abbot Anthony, if I continue to do that, my bow will break. And at that moment, Anthony said, well, that should be our life. You know, we should not take too much of stress, too much of tension, too much of work will break us. From time to time, you must know how to give rest to your bow. That is, how to give rest to your life. And that is the rest, not going and sleeping, but rest to our mind, rest to our heart, rest to our body, rest from all the tensions and worries. And then go to Christ in prayer, in meditation, in silence, abandon ourselves in the hands of the Lord, and we will see what really Jesus' rest is. And therefore, let us learn from it, from Jesus, to be humble and gentle in heart. Kindly rise, we profess. Amen.